students, my name is Niyati Said and thanks for watching Edupedia word videos. My topic for the presentation is the last section of the chapter Chemical Control and Coordination. In this section of presentation, we'll be studying about the mechanism of hormone action. Okay? So hormones. Hormones, we very well know that they are target specific. That is, they act on a specific organ. Okay, as you can see, this is the hormone which is acting specifically on this. So they are target specific. That is, they act on a specific organ called as target organ. So here in this case, this is the target organ and this is the hormone. Cells of the target organ have receptors. Okay, so as you can see that this is a target organ, so it has a receptor on which these hormones comes and binds, and only then it can induce the specific effect. Okay, suppose this is a hormone known as FSH, that is your follicle stimulating hormone, and this is your ovarian cell membrane, and this is the receptor of the ovary. Okay, and this is the hormone which goes and sits on the receptor. Okay, so cells of the target organ, they have receptors to which the hormone binds, and only then it can induce the specific effect. The receptor molecule, which is this one, it is usually a glycoprotein located either on the plasma membrane of cell or inside the cell in the nucleus. Am I clear, students, that this is the receptor molecule? It is usually made up of glycoprotein which is located either on the plasma membrane of cell or inside the cell in the nucleus. Okay, a specific receptor binds with the specific hormone to form a hormone receptor complex. Okay, so this is your hormone receptor complex in which hormone binds with the receptor. So this is your entire hormone receptor complex. Now we'll see how mechanism of hormone takes place. Hormone here in this case is FSH, that is your follicular stimulating hormone. Okay, so first what happens is mode of hormone action through membrane bound receptor. We'll see this is your membrane bound receptor because this receptor is present in the membrane of the ovary. Okay, so these hormone in this case is FSH. These hormones are water soluble. The receptor located on plasma membrane bind to the specific hormone to form a hormone receptor complex. This is your hormone and this is your receptor. So when they both get bind up, then it forms a hormone receptor complex. The hormone with the receptor complex remains in the plasma membrane and does not enter the cytoplasm of the cell because inside this plasma membrane there is a cytoplasm. So the hormone with receptor complex, it remains in the plasma membrane and it does not enter the cytoplasm of cell. The hormone receptor complex, it activates adenyl cyclase. Okay, adenyl cyclase. This adenyl cyclase, it generates a second messenger known as cyclic AMP, or you can say CAMP, which is a second messenger. And apart from CAMP, it also releases or generates another secondary messenger, that is Ca2+, that is calcium ion. Or it can also generate IP3, which is also known as inositol triphosphate. These second messengers, they bring about a desired effect by regulating the cellular metabolism. As you can see that these secondary messengers, they bring about the desired effect by regulating the cellular metabolism. Hormones showing this type of mode of action are catecholamine such as adrenaline, and small and large peptide hormones such as oxytocin, insulin, etc. Okay, so and that brings about a physiological responses. For example, ovarian growth, because hormone here was follicular stimulating hormone. Okay, and which goes and binds with the receptor cell. Okay, so this is the first mode of action of hormone. So let's see how steps of the hormonal signaling takes place. See, this is the plasma membrane, this is the receptor, this is the ligand which goes and binds to the receptor. So biosynthesis of particular hormone in a particular tissue takes place first, and then storage and secretion of hormone. Then this hormone is transported to the target cell. See, this is the target cell, which is also known as receptor. Then recognition of hormone by an associated cell membrane or intracellular receptor protein takes place. That means this receptor recognizes this ligand, which is your hormone. A ligand here is your hormone and receptor is your target organ. Okay, and then relay and the amplification of received hormonal signal via signal transduction process takes place. That means when this hormone binds with the receptor or the target organ, then it amplifies the hormonal signal. Okay, and these steps, they lead to a cellular response. The reaction of the target cells may then be recognized by the original hormone producing cells that lead to the downregulation in hormone production. And this is an example of homeostatic negative feedback loop. Okay. Now hormones produce their effects by binding to the specific proteins, and they are known as hormone receptors, which are located in the target tissues. I have shown you in the diagram the target tissue was ovary. Okay, that has membrane bound receptors. Hormone receptors, they include membrane bound receptors and intracellular receptors. A hormone, it binds to the receptor to form hormone receptor complex, and each receptor is specific to one hormone only. That means receptor is very much specific to the very much hormone. Hormone receptor complex formation, it leads to certain biochemical changes in the target tissue, and thereby metabolism and physiological functions, they are regulated. Okay, now the hormones which interact with the membrane bound receptors, they normally do not enter the target cell. That means it does not interfere with the cytoplasm of the cell, target cell, but it generates secondary messengers such as CAMP, that is cyclic AMP, inositol triphosphate, that is IP3, and calcium ions, which in turn regulate cellular metabolism. Okay. Now hormones which interact with the intracellular receptors. This is the second mode of hormone action, which takes place through intracellular receptors. So the hormone which interact with the intracellular receptors, such as steroid hormones, they mostly regulate gene expression or chromosome function by the interaction of hormone receptor complex with the genome. And then entire biochemical action result in physiological effects. So this is the second mode of hormone action, which takes place through intracellular receptors. In this, what happens is these hormones, they are lipid soluble, such as estrogen. Take an example of estrogen. It is your lipid soluble hormone that pass through cell membrane. Okay, that means it passes through the cell membrane, and that's why this mode of action is known as mode of hormone action through intracellular receptors. Intracellular receptors, they are present in the nucleus. See, this is the nucleus membrane. Okay, so your intracellular receptors, they are present in the nucleus of the cell. Hormone, they enter the cell and they bind to the receptor to form a hormone receptor complex. As you can see here, that this is your receptor hormone complex. Because hormone, it enters the cell and it binds to the receptor to form a hormone receptor complex. Hormone here is a lipid soluble hormone and it passes through the cell membrane. Okay. Now this complex interacts with genes. Now this complex, that is a receptor hormone complex, it will now interact with the genes or chromosome in the genome that regulate their expression, and they evoke biochemical changes and bring about physiological or developmental functions. Thyroxine and steroidal hormones such as testosterone, they show this mode of action. That means mode of hormone action through intracellular receptors. Okay, so this is how it brings about physiological responses such as tissue growth and differentiation. Okay, here we took the example of estrogen, which acts on the uterine cell membrane. Okay, now types of hormone. On the basis of their chemical nature, hormones can be divided into 4 categories. And which are those? Peptide hormone, which is your insulin and glucagon, which I have taught you when I taught you about the pancreas. Second is your steroidal hormone, such as estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and cortisol. And third is your iodothyronines, which is known as thyroid hormone. And fourth is your amino acid derivatives, such as epinephrine. Okay, so this was all about the mode of hormone action through membrane bound receptors and mode of hormone action through intracellular receptors. And this comes an end of the chapter chemical control and coordination. So thank you.